Mr. Marchant, you're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Director, for this report. I guess the word's out to America that what we have suspected all along is true. Wall Street Journal says fictitious applicants get to U.S. health insurance tax credits. The Washington Post says federal undercover investigation signs up fake applicants for ACA coverage, subsidies. And then NBC comes out and says GAO sting finds it easy to fake it, get Obamacare premiums. So what we have suspected since we passed this law and it began to be implemented is that it's another federal program that is going to be easily scammed and easily accessed by someone willing to commit fraud. We have several programs in the federal government that we find out daily that is happening to. I guess we also found out what the new definition of a navigator is. The new definition of a navigator is a fraud assistant agent. It's something that we have suspected since the first TV and news stories came out, when we found people in these agencies not being able to answer questions. Some of them had criminal backgrounds. From the very beginning, we suspected that the people that were going to be assisting people to sign up to this program were not qualified to do so. This report, this preliminary report, completely ratifies that. In one of these stories, it says that 4.3 million of the applicants have some inconsistency in their application. 4.3 million. And the agents and the contractors that are supposed to be vetting these inconsistencies are so far behind they'll never catch up. Never catch up to verifying these inconsistencies. This year, we'll spend $17 billion on this program, another federal program. Where did the money come from? The money came from taxpayers. In the last year, millions of taxpayers in the United States have found out that they are paying for Obamacare. They are paying in extra taxes. So it's the responsibility of this committee, it's the responsibility of this Congress to make sure that those taxpayers, those hardworking taxpayers, do not have their money wasted. And so I think that your preliminary report has done a great service to this Congress and this committee, because it's giving us some direction now in finding out exactly how to address this problem. When you gave the navigators the information, did you provide income information?
Yes, I would refer you to my opening statement where I said that the one person who did assist us correctly identified our income, which we gave this person as being outside the boundaries of qualifying for a subsidy. So we did provide a number, and this assister assessed that number and correctly told us that it was outside of.
So in these 11 to 12 cases, in all 12 cases, you provided the IRS with income that was verifiable, and you provided them with a Social Security number that was verifiable?
We provided a series of data points as part of the application, but again, I will remind you that the 6 navigator scenarios are not intended to seek coverage like the other 12 were. So it's a technical nuance, but it's a very important one to make. But we did provide information online during our online application process, and then when we switched over to the telephone process, we were submitting various bits of information. Yes.
So you could draw the conclusion that as flawed as the website started, and as flawed as it is, and now on the back end, as you described, catching those fraud and catching those inconsistencies, The website, you found it was much more difficult on the website to give them false information and sign up than it was if you would switch to a navigator.
Well, we were flagged on the online process. We were referred to the contractor who was intended to clarify or verify our identity. When they were unable to do so, they directed us to the call center, and that's where we got through in terms of obtaining coverage. Now, I would say that when we did provide information as part of the application process, there were inconsistencies that were flagged, and we subsequently received requests to submit documentation which would be to substantiate the information we were providing, and that's the documentation that is now at the back end with the contractor who processes that documentation. And as I mentioned earlier, in several instances regarding 2 of our applicants, those documents have been verified as authentic.
Thank you, Director.